Okay, we're going to go straight into questions for Coach Crean, so raise your hand and I'll get to you as soon as I can. Let's see. Back third row on the right.
Coach, your players are we hope they see as far as learning and
No, in the short answer, but it's not to really get that, see the game in a little bit different light, and to be in reality, and X and O wise when it comes to sets or nature. So that's, I think the biggest, I don't know too high for where we're at right now or where we aren't, and I say that against a very tomorrow night in UAB, but I love the attitude of getting better, and we just got to build the right consistently. That's the biggest thing, I think.
Okay, second row on the right.
Oh, I think I know the SEC and competing against it, knowing the coaches. You had games with Kentucky and people like that in the past. So if you're in college basketball, the SEC is, but what's happened in it the last couple of years, especially, brand easy of a term. What they've done is and so is investing. They've really gone and brought this up a level. The coaches, the players, the whole thing. You know, when you've got Greg Sankey running it and you have Dan Leibovitz inside running the basketball part of it, I think the hiring of Mark Whitehead was big. And then you had Mike, belongs in the Hall of Fame. He was our commissioner in the Big East. So when you start to look at the infrastructure they have, right? I mean, it's not a shock that it is, but to go from 3 teams 3 years ago, 8 teams a year ago, that's incredible. And when we had a chance to get in this league, it wasn't a hard decision. I mean, you want to be in a league that's highly marketable for you to recruit in, for you to have your program be at a school that name school, not only in athletics but academics. We certainly got that. But then against the best teams in the league. Now, how would I compare it to the other leagues that I've been in? It's too early for me to do that. But looking at it and having a respect, and I don't think the SEC is going to take a backseat to any league at all this year. And I think that was a big part of having an strong interest in the job. So we just have to look around at the other sports there, not only football, but the other sports that are there too, that have made it, it's really cool to play in the, and we've got football-wise. And I think the most important thing we do right now is that we don't get away from to be successful when it comes to recruiting. And not achieve this or that, but really get people that are going to be able to play the way that we want to play moving forward. And because winning in any league, there are a few build towards that at Georgia. We've got right now of learning and making progress, but I don't potential there, and it doesn't start and how it is how fertile the south. Georgia is an and I in, but I have no idea how strong it was. I mean, it's up to 13th in the country, public universities. It was 16th a year ago. So when you're not, maybe you don't understand that, and you're able to recruit all kinds of different ways, but people that can come in and excel in the league and also excel in the classroom.
Back row on the right.
No, I it back. And this is so wrong, but I got to make sure the expectations aren't too high for them. We've got a lot, and there's no doubt. And I credit bringing in high quality people into the program, but our program established in the style of play, the way that we want to play, and seeing the game, being able to play pace, being able to utilize the tempo, the spacing, being able to play on both ends. It's going to take a little bit of time. So the most important is make sure that we're building their fundamentals on a daily basis. Fundamentals, how we want to play, and moving it towards that. And I think because we're spending so much time on that, way behind X and O-wise, or way behind in maybe sets or scheme or things like that, make sure we're getting those fundamentals down. And I'm not trying to go too fast, but I'm not trying to put undue expectations that they're not ready for, and we got to really find, go hard. What that means is when you're day to day, you're all over the map. You might have good days, and all of a sudden you turn it around. Consistency better is not. That's where you make your jump. So I can't answer the question, but I'll find the answer to that question.
Left side, second row. Coach, where do you feel like the year away is for you, and did you find that you were more motivated to get back into it?
I mean, when our job was taken from us, we were just, it was just, I never needed a break. That's one of the reasons that I enjoyed. We knew that we would go back once, and once we got that in it, it wasn't the pressure that you feel like job open or what. I mean, my wife, the first season, she's never been a part of a team. Family, and then us being married, it was different for us. But job of it, and to me, I think I enjoyed it. I was around a lot of different situations. I thought patience, and unfortunately that hasn't been the case, especially on days like today. But we got like, because when we're on television, that we could really dig deep and say, okay, number one thing was finding we could work with this that understood what real support is. Support is not, support is that, two-way street support that you got. And we felt that, and we took a chance on that, and it's been a great chance that we took, just like we enjoyed it. So I think what was going to be important the next time is something we didn't want like we did.
Okay, on the right side.
You mentioned the game you ain't beat them all. What specifically were you looking for from your team?
Well, this isn't coach speak. We're just not. We're not to play a game when it comes to different situational things, when it comes to some of the X's and O's parts of it. So we've got to make sure that we don't give too many keys to what's going to be important for us. They got, and we've got the job of getting back in transition. You people don't more than three things. Don't give them more than four things. I think we have that, and it's far, but it's, I'm glad we're far too early to play, but it's for a good cause, and we're here to do this. And we play without without trying to take the game into our own hands individually? Can we continue to trust the ball system and that kind of go play? And I'm looking for consistency. You know, we don't have anything close to a set starting lineup right now, and but the bottom consistency for somebody to step up, coach, you got this and this, and you can count on it. We're not there yet, and maybe that's good, maybe that's bad. We'll find out what tomorrow night is like. But that's where we're at. This is what and along the way out as we went along.
Mike, third row left.
Coach, from a personal standpoint, what are some of the challenges that you're presented with the roster that you've inherited and what you've got from the recruiting class in terms of where you want to take this team?
Consistent shooting, consistent range shooting. Really right now, again, it's not about, I wasn't there, program. So it's more about, okay, this is the way we want to play. And that utilization, how we played. I think the next I'm scared to death to where our transition defense would be right now. We don't understand how, you know, we're starting to better on the defensive end with that same sense of urgency. So just little things like that. But in answer to your question, it starts with the shooting, most importantly. Consistent shooting.
Bob on the right.
You've been a basketball first league in the past battle. Now you're just, it's pretty big. What's that?
I mean, I knew that. It wasn't like I knew that walking in, and I fantastic. I'm in a football. But then when you marry into the Harbaughs, you really have no choice. So I've always when Nick Saban was taking over at Michigan State, so that was the one time that I was around that. So you got the action that Tom and Nick had, part of that, and see what happens when you got that kind of synergy between your two coaches like that. And then they also had Ron Mason, who was the hockey coach, you know, in the Hall of Fame, deceased now, but in the Hockey Hall of Fame. So I always wanted something like that. And obviously that wasn't a choice we had at Marquette, but I wanted something like that. So it's been fantastic. I don't see him as much now, so I'm a lot of different events and donor meetings, but I think it's more than football. I think the sports there are fantastic. I mean, there's a lot of championship ones that will be. Sports, when you got that kind of level of school and atmosphere for your school, there's no reason we can't be successful with it. So in a football school, I've looked at it as being an incredible for athletics and a football well at the front of the front porch.
Front row on the right.
You talked about playing Kentucky when you were in Indiana. What is your relationship with John Calipari, and are you looking forward to being in the same?
I like John. I think he's a good coach. I like him. I mean, we've been friends for some time. I've learned a lot from him. We competed at Marquette. We competed at Indiana when he was at Memphis and at Kentucky. And if we're not, always a team that I watch. And it's always a team you can learn from. But he's a very good coach.
Any more questions? Here on the left, Mike.
Coach, I had to ask this before. Obviously, Indiana is a different type of program you took over, but from where you brought that program, how far do you have to go with that program, and what are some of the staples you instilled there, leading that program to a number one ranking?
Well, that because when we walked in there, we knew we were going on probation. We just didn't know to what level. And I mean, we don't have enough time to go over all the things there, but I think the fans, I mean, they really helped us through that. And then the students helped us through that. And I walked in trying to stay. And we had some players like Christian Watford, who lives here in Birmingham, was one of the first major us. Maurice Creek, who, if anybody remembers one of the Kentucky games, Jerry might remember this, he had 31 Kentucky, then got, you know, in his time. But to put ourselves in a position to not only compete, but to win the league. And so that's inheriting some really good people. It's a different style of play per se. You know, they literally come back in one play. Scholarships or whether it was walk-ons, everything was different. And so there's no comparison to that. But this is one where we've just got to continue to help these guys grow in the way that we want to play. Build to the way to the style. Continue to help these guys now keep getting better and better inside of that.